Hi, Michelle Shuttleworth, Towler here, and today we're going to talk a little bit about how to mark your audition music correctly. And this is a really important thing that sometimes gets a little bit overlooked. Your audition piece obviously is meant to showcase you. You painstakingly picked out a song, something that shows off all your best qualities, something that you really connect to, but it's not just yours, it's not just your performance, it's a duet. And the person who is playing with you is reading this for the very first time. So you want to give them as many directions as possible to make it as easy and clear for them so that they can play to the best of their ability and exactly the way that you want it, so your audition goes as smoothly as possible, so you can really shine. Not only that, you don't know who the accompanist is. It might just be some guy that they brought in, but it could be the music director. It could be someone who has a lot of say in whether you get called back or not. And the more organized, the more professional you are, the better that's going to make you look. So here are some rules. Some of these seem really common sense, but you'd be amazed how many times I see music that does not include these from some people who should know better. So number one, of course, keep your music clean and uncrumpled. If you are going to put them in sleeves, make sure that those sleeves are anti-glare. This is going to be a big problem in a lot of studios with the fluorescent lights. If they are not anti-glare, they're going to have a tough time reading your music. If you don't use sleeves, just make sure that you keep everything kind of like naked, really clean. Make sure it's not crumpled up, smudged, folded, has coffee spills over them. Make sure that your fresh sheets of paper are always nice and clean. Number two, make sure that you write the name of your song at the top of your page and also the show and the composer. Even if you've just taken copies out of 2 pages in the middle of your song, write it at the top. This is going to be useful information for your accompanist, especially so they can glean some information about the style, if they're familiar with the show, if they're familiar with the composer, even if they don't know the song really well, that's going to give them a lot of information. 3, for pop songs, and this is kind of new as we're doing more and more pop in auditions, it can be really helpful to just write a stylistic note about how the song feels. Your accompanist, while brought in certainly because they have amazing sight reading skills, probably did not study the body of pop music. They probably studied musical theater, so they might not know your pop song. So even something really simple like dance groove, or moderate with a pulse, or freely, can really help them get the feel of the song. They're able to read the notes on the page, but oftentimes those notes are not written really stylistically, or they don't give a lot of detail about like the energy of the song. So again, if you can write a little note to help them out, that would be fantastic. Also, when you're standing at the piano before you go, just like give them a little sample of how your song feels, a little snap, a little sing through, that'll help as well. 4, make sure that you mark the start and the end of your cut. This seems like the most common sense one of all of them, but so many people bring their books in and they just tell me, start here, and there's nothing written. So really make sure that you have very clearly indicated where your cut begins, where it ends. I always have all of my students highlight them. Like, take a highlighter, blue, yellow, orange, whatever color, and really clearly mark where it starts and where it begins, or where it starts and where it ends. Number 5, avoid Xing out too many measures and sort of writing arrows to say where you should, go from and skip to. It gets very confusing. The more directions you put in there, the more likely your accompanist is to get lost, and the lesser quality your audition is going to be. So, what I have my students do, I call them a Picasso, when you kind of take like a piece of this and a piece of this and you put them all together. We do like an arts and craft project, basically, where you kind of cut out the measures that you don't need, you line them up with the measures that you do, tape them all together, make a photocopy so it's one clean page, and that way the only notes on the page are what the accompanist should be playing. I actually have a couple students who are very savvy with Photoshop, and they're able to do that on the computer. I don't know how, maybe you do. But the cleaner all of that is, the easier time your accompanist is going to have playing the song the way that you want. 6, make sure that you mark all of your own stylistic needs musically, especially if you're kind of taking things in a different direction than something that is commonly known or the way the original production did it. If you have retards, if you have caesuras, if you have fermatas, anything like that, mark them in, take that same highlighter that you used for the start and finish, and highlight every single thing so that they don't have to search for it. It's just glaring on the page, standing out so that the accompanist will see it and play it exactly the way that you're used to rehearsing it. And 7, eliminate page turns if possible. Now, we don't want your cut to be so long that you should have page turns in every audition, but if you do, if possible, if you're not using sleeves, what I have my students do is we kind of make a pull-out where I have them tape the seams together of either page 1 and 2 or 2 and 3 so that you can lay out all 3 pages. And accompanist never has to make page turns, so we never have a chance of getting lost. So all of these things are going to help you to have the most impeccable audition possible without mistakes, without bumps. Remember, this is your audition, it's not the accompanist audition, so you want to give them as much direction as possible so that they play it just the way you want it and you can shine. So thanks so much, and we'll see you in the next video.